Welcome to California in Focus. This is your host, Kenneth Schrupp, investigative reporter at the Center Square. I'm joined today by our new reporter, Madeline Shannon, our California-based reporter who is in Northern California. She's here with us today on how California Attorney General Rob Bonta is suing companies for allegedly distributing single-use plastic bags that are not recyclable, which does violate the state's rule on single-use plastic bags. Tell us more about this case.
So this kind of comes from this really comes from an effort by Bonta to clean up the environment in California and hold a few different companies responsible for continuing to distribute plastic bags in the state of California, which violates a state law that was passed about 11 years ago in 2014, and that the voters of California upheld in 2016. And it really just is a law that that prohibits businesses from producing and distributing plastic bags in California, single-use plastic bags anyway. And these three companies named in the lawsuit that California Attorney General Rob Bonta filed this week have continued to distribute single-use plastic bags in the state in violation of this law. So this is just an effort to enforce current state law and hold businesses that are allegedly still passing out these plastic bags responsible and get them to stop.
So there's been a lot of back and forth about whether or not eliminating single-use plastic bags is actually better for the environment compared to what we have now, where we're using much thicker, much larger in terms of plastic volume, quote unquote, recyclable plastic bags. I remember writing on this thread about a year ago that there is more overall plastic bag ending up in landfills, even though there are far fewer plastic bags ending up in landfills because the recyclable bags are so much thicker, and that these recyclable bags usually end up in the landfill anyway, because there's no requirement that users or buyers of these bags actually put them in recycling. And we actually lack the infrastructure to properly sort through our trash as a lot of countries do.
Right. And that's exactly what some of the critics of this law and this lawsuit have been saying about plastic bags in California. A lot of companies that manufacture plastic bags have started to make them in thicker quantities, with thicker types of plastic for grocery stores and the like to give to customers who go there to buy their groceries. But there are quite a lot of people who think that really single-use plastic bags, higher quality plastic bags are all kind of the same and all end up in the same place, all end up in landfills. And there are even critics of Bonta's lawsuit filed this week who say that that thicker plastic bags that are made of a higher quality plastic are just taking up more room in landfills, and that the single-use plastic bags that are kind of flimsier and made from a thinner plastic are taking up less space in landfills. And so there are a lot of critics who think that this lawsuit really isn't going to accomplish anything, and that all plastic bags kind of just go to the same place, so it doesn't matter either way. But of course, the state is trying to clean up single-use plastic bags that can't be reused, that aren't made of a high quality enough plastic to recycle or reuse in any meaningful way, and that end up in not just landfills, but in natural spaces and waterways, and that harm the environment. So that's part of Attorney General Rob Bonta's effort to try to clean that up.
So if I'm reading between the lines here, you probably have lower microplastic pollution from these thicker bags, even though they might weigh more. You're less likely to have this end up in your bloodstream, for example.
Exactly.
Okay. And then I guess this effort to move towards reusable plastic bags seems like part of a broader scheme to get people out of using plastic entirely. Does that seem to be the case?
I think there are those who advocate for exactly that. I know that there are some groups who advocate entirely for using paper bags or reusable fabric bags. And a lot of people a lot of customers across the state do use reusable fabric bags to go grocery shopping. You'll see that at really any grocery store or pharmacy anywhere in the state. But then there are communities that are full of people who don't use those fabric bags and don't really care that much about reusing or using recyclable or reusable plastic bags that are made of that higher quality plastic. But that is the goal of a lot of people to try to get single-use plastic bags and lower quality plastics out of the consumer cycle and out of the environment.
So before we wrap up here, let's take a look more broadly. You noted that there was a 2024 lawsuit filed by Bonta saying that recycling is a PR stunt. Can you explain what he meant by that?
Well, I think that was just another part of the effort that his office has been enacting since last year to try to get single-use plastics out of stores and out of customers' hands, and just trying to target companies that have continued to distribute plastic bags across the state. I know that earlier this week, in addition to filing a lawsuit against these 3 companies that he is targeting right now, he also settled with 4 other companies that have also apparently continued to produce or distribute plastic bags in California. And those companies so far have agreed to pay fines totaling more than $1.7 million. I think that that's part of the Attorney General's effort to just hold certain companies accountable after allegedly continuing to distribute plastic bags across California.
You know, he did note in his conference, as you noted, that it costs an estimated $25 million a year to collect and dispose of plastic bags. It wasn't clear whether that was for the companies that were fined or in general, but it does seem like for companies that are providing, perhaps millions of these bags across the state each year, it seems like more of a public relations stunt from Bonta's office than something that's going to result in substantive change.
Yeah, and I do think that a lot of critics of this lawsuit do say that. And maybe there's some truth to that. But I do think time will tell, and we'll see if his office is successful in actually eliminating plastic bags from grocery stores and pharmacies and other retailers across the state. But yeah, it is interesting to kind of see him make this effort, and we'll see if it ends up really accomplishing anything.
Well, Madeline, thank you so much for your coverage of this evolving issue. I'm sure we'll have another update from you soon. This has been California in Focus. Please visit thecentersquare.com for more California coverage.